In Canada, heavily militarized officers with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police raided Wet'suwet'en territory Thursday with assault rifles and dogs, trying to put an end to a 50-day Indigenous blockade to block TransCanada's 400-mile, $4.7 billion Coastal GasLink pipeline. At least 14 people were arrested. The raid came on the same day Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau met with President Biden at the White House as 18,000 residents of British Columbia remain cut off by floodwaters and mudslides after torrential rains brought what officials have described as a 1 in 500-year flood. The Wet'suwet'en occupation started in September and halted the company's efforts to build a key portion of the over 400-mile pipeline that would transport natural gas from Dawson Creek in northeastern British Columbia to the province's north coastal region. On Thursday, Molly Wickham, an Indigenous land defender, recorded this video during the police raid.
The RCMP are invading Wet'suwet'en territory once again. There have been approximately 15 arrests that have happened already at Gidimt'en checkpoint. Legal observers, media have been arrested. 2 of our Wet'suwet'en elders have been arrested and removed from the territory. Right now we're at Coyote Camp and the RCMP are moving in to remove me from my territory. This invasion, once again, speaks to the genocide that's happening to Indigenous people that are trying to protect our water for our future generations. It's infuriating. It's illegal, even according to their own means of colonial law. We need to shut down Canada. Our Haudenosaunee relatives have been arrested, violently arrested. They've been removed from our territories. They're removing Wet'suwet'en people from our own lands. They're planning to drill under Wudzinkwah and destroy our sacred headwaters. We need people to act. You need to act where you are now. Shut down major infrastructure. Do whatever you can. Rally against the investors. Shut down the investors to this project so that it is very clear that Indigenous people will not stand for the genocide that's happening to our lands and to our future generations.
Thursday's raid came after the Wet'suwet'en Nation issued its own eviction notice on Sunday to Coastal GasLink workers. When the workers attempted to access the roads, Indigenous land defenders refused to allow them to enter. The workers then reported the blockade to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and issued an injunction.
Roads closed. Roads closed, man, no matter what you say.
So we're here from Coastal GasLink project. We are here to conduct work on behalf of the Coastal GasLink project, and you're impeding us. Can you please move your blockade out of the area?
Nothing to say.
We have a court injunction BC that anyone having no are restrained from and physically preventing, restricting, conducting work. Will you remove your blockade to allow us to conduct our work? As you're not removing your blockade and continuing to, we'll be advising that we will be reporting this to the RCMP as a breach of an order. There's a copy of the injunction. Thank you for your time.
The Indigenous land defenders then burned the injunction in a bonfire. For more, we go to Molly Wickham, also known as Slido. She's a land defender, matriarch of the Gidimt'en clan of Wet'suwet'en Nation. We heard describing the raid as it happened. She's a leader in this protracted battle against the pipeline. Molly, welcome back to Democracy Now! Describe more in detail what has taken place, the raid yesterday, and what this means, why you've been devoting scores of days to this.
Yeah, so today is day 56 of the occupation of the drill pad site. There were Coastal GasLink plans to drill underneath Wudzinkwah, which is our sacred headwaters, one of our last clean drinking water sources, our major spawning salmon river. No consent to drill under Wudzinkwah or cross Wudzinkwah whatsoever by our nation. On Sunday, November 14th, the Coastal GasLink was given 8 hours notice to evacuate the territory based on an eviction order by the hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en Nation of all 5 clans in January of 2020. And so this was an enforcement of that order in order to show Coastal GasLink and the investors and the people that are, supporting this project, that this project does not have the free, prior, informed consent of the Wet'suwet'en people. And so we provided the workers from the man camp 8 hours to vacate the territory. All of the vehicles were allowed out of the territory. Right as the deadline was approaching, the RCMP called Chief Was and asked for a 2-hour extension, which Chief Was granted to them. So they had 10 hours to leave the territory before the road was closed. And after, they did not make one move to try to leave the territory. We were informed later that Coastal GasLink workers, not all of them were told by Coastal GasLink and instructed to leave the territory or that they would be blocked in. And so nobody left. They all stayed there voluntarily. And then the road was closed after 10 hours of giving them the opportunity to leave.
Can you talk about the corporation directly that's involved and its relationship to the Canadian government?
Yeah, so the corporation, the owners are the TC Energy, KKR, which is a private equity investment firm, and AIMCO, which is investment firm as well from Alberta, which actually is caught up with Alberta RCMP pension funds. And so TC Energy owns the least amount, and there's also the major investors of the major 5 Canadian banks that are, and RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, is the one funding most of the construction for this project. And so there's a lot of Canadian pension funds that are invested in these private equity firms that own this company. And around the world, there's huge investment into this company that people aren't even aware that it's their pension funds that are paying for this destruction of our territory.
On Wet'suwet'en territory, the Gidimt'en clan set up a cabin on the drill pad site where Coastal GasLink plans to drill.
This is the drill pad site where they plan to drill under Wickham. And we have a new home here, a new cabin here, a log cabin that's going to be here and stay here, and we'll be housing Cassia and Gidimt'en and Wet'suwet'en people for generations to come. And they won't be coming in here anytime soon to be drilling under Wickham. We're occupying this space. People are going to be living here, and it'll be occupied from now on.
Is that where you are right now, Slato?
Yes, we are at Coyote Camp, which is the drill pad site. Denise Was, our house chief for our Cassia house of the Gidimt'en clan, his daughter is currently residing in that cabin at Coyote Camp. And we are holding down. Coyote Camp has not been raided. We just heard on the communications that there are 2 buses of RCMP headed out our way right now on the Forest Service Road. And we're still here, and we're holding this space as long as we possibly can. Yesterday, there was 30 to 50 militarized RCMP that entered Gidimt'en checkpoint, which is another Gidimt'en occupation site 20 kilometers down the Forest Service Road from us. And they brought a canine unit, they had helicopters, they had assault rifles, sniper rifles. In previous years, they had lethal overwatch, and I'm sure that was the case yesterday again. There were violent arrests made. 2 of our elders were arrested and removed from the territory. One, which was denied our matriarch in our house was denied her medication after an exclusion zone was set up by the RCMP. And then she was sent to hospital yesterday with chest pains because she had not received her heart medication.
Last year in Ontario, a Mohawk Solidarity protest shut down the Canadian National Railway for days, halting travel for tens of thousands of passengers. I want to turn to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau responding to the Solidarity protests.
We recognize the important democratic right, and we will always defend it, of peaceful protest. This is an important part of our democracy in Canada. But we're also a country of the rule of law, and we need to make sure those laws are respected. That is why I am encouraging all parties to dialogue to resolve this as quickly as possible.
So if you could respond to what Prime Minister Trudeau is saying. He just met yesterday with President Biden and the Mexican President AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. He's pushing for Line 5 through Michigan, which the Michigan governor has said no to, afraid it'll pollute the Great Lakes. Overall, your message, this in the midst of, in another part of British Columbia, you have these 1 in 500-year floods.
Yeah, so I do want to speak to Trudeau's rule of law. I feel like the rule of law is inherently racist, and when they use that terminology in this context, it's extremely racist because it does not consider Indigenous law. It's as if we don't exist as Indigenous people and that we don't have our own governance and that we don't have our own system of law. And calling the rule of law and following the rule of law in Canada totally erases us as Indigenous people. And we are here holding up Wet'suwet'en law. That is why we are here. We are not here, we're not protesters. We're not just here protesting, this one project. We're here to uphold Wet'suwet'en law as we have for thousands of years. And that means protecting our river at all costs. At this time, there's BC declared a state of emergency. And so there are people literally stranded on their roofs. There are people that have died. And the RCMP have sent in 2 plane loads, 4 buses full, and multiple helicopters to use in raiding our territory on unarmed Indigenous people. And so that, to me, this climate crisis that has caused this disaster, and the resources that the government is willing to direct to criminalizing Indigenous people instead of addressing the actual climate issue speaks to, the discrepancy between
Molly
what is
Wickham,
being said in the
we're
government.
We're going to have to leave it there, also known as Slido. We'll continue to cover this issue. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.